Could you please comment a little bit more on changing the flag and how it affects New Zealand's, the view of New Zealand in the world, particularly with reference to trade?
Yeah, so I guess the way I would look at it, I would say, is if you look at the Canadian flag, so prior to 1965, Canada's flag looked very much like New Zealand's, except it was red. It had the Union Jack in the corner, and obviously had the Southern Cross, but it essentially looks very much like that. So I always say to people, notwithstanding it was quite controversial when they changed the flag in Canada, show me a single Canadian that would want to go back to their old flag. If you see the Canadian flag on any product, you'll know instantly it's Canadian. It's instantly recognisable, and everybody has a perception of a country that's not their own. My own perception of Canada is one that's it's very much like New Zealand. It's clean, it's green, it's quality, they're well educated, it's a wealthy economy. That's the mental perception I have of Canada. And so I feel warmly disposed towards Canadian products, and the maple leaf is as a consumer, a way of me being attracted to those products. And I think the silver fern does the same thing. I think we've had 140 years of the silver fern worn by our sports people, but also, as I always say to people, look, you go and have a look up until 1978. If someone died in the service of our country, we didn't bring them back to New Zealand, we buried them in a Commonwealth war grave. And the way that we showed that they had paid the ultimate price in the service of their country was we didn't put the flag on their tombstone, we put the silver fern on their tombstone. And I think for New Zealand, if the flag doesn't change, it'll be because of inertia. People just are concerned about upsetting their uncles or their forefathers or whatever it might be, and I understand that completely. But actually, I think it's one of those things, if it did change, the economic benefits to New Zealand are great, but also just that kind of sense of national pride in us having young New Zealanders wearing it. And if you're a young New Zealander and you come to New York, well, actually a great example is when New Zealand played the United States for the first time ever on American soil in rugby at Soldier Park last year, I think it was. You have a look what happened. The American supporters all turned up with sweatshirts and jackets and hats and the likes with the stars and stripes on. Our supporters either turned up with normal plain unbranded clothes, or if you're really lucky, an all black jersey. If you want to demonstrate to somebody that you're a Kiwi and you were walking down the street here in New York, you wouldn't do it wearing a sweatshirt with the New Zealand flag on, because they'd either think you're Australian or they wouldn't recognise it, or you'd think you're sort of Britain at night, as someone described it to me. But you certainly wouldn't be wearing it with current flag. What you would do is you'd wear the silver fern, because there's a half-fighting chance that people would know where it's from.